What's this? MLP and LPS Live uploading a video the day after she just posted a video? Let's get into it. Generation 6 of My Little Pony has officially been revealed. The new series is called My Little Pony Forever Friendship and is expected to premiere in early 2027. I've spent a lot of time trying to understand exactly how I feel about this announcement. At first, I thought my reaction was mainly about Applejack and Rarity being missing from the new central group. Spoiler if you didn't know that already, but we'll get into that a bit later in the video. I am genuinely devastated that the series is beginning with Twilight Sparkle, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy, but not Applejack and Rarity. However, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that my feelings go much deeper than that. The truth is that I don't think I was ever going to be completely excited about seeing these characters return in a new form. Not because I think the new series looks terrible, I actually think the new artwork is beautiful. Not because I have anything against the new voice actors. I'm genuinely happy that they have received such an incredible opportunity. And not because I believe My Little Pony should never be allowed to change or introduce something new. My problem is that I don't like change, especially when it involves something I'm deeply emotionally attached to. I didn't want the main six to be redesigned, recast, or reimagined. I wanted the versions I already loved to continue forever. In fact, I never watched the final season of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I know the series ended years ago, but I was not ready to watch the characters grow and reach the conclusions of their story. And honestly, I'm still not ready. Some part of me has always wanted to believe that their adventures are still continuing somewhere, that the main six are still together, still living their lives and still discovering new things about friendship. I never wanted G4 to end, so Generation 6 does not simply feel like an announcement of a new television series to me. It feels like I'm being forced to confront an ending that I spent years avoiding. In this video, I want to discuss everything we currently know about Forever Friendship, including the San Diego Comic-Con panel, the new timeline, the artwork, the voice actors, the YouTube format, the missing ponies, and the possibility of new toys. But more than that, I want to explain why I can appreciate the work being put into Generation 6 while still feeling completely unready to accept it. On the 24th of July 2026, Hasbro officially announced My Little Pony Forever Friendship. The new animated series is expected to premiere exclusively on YouTube in early 2027. Episodes will be approximately 9 minutes long and released every 2 weeks. Hasbro describes the show as a feelings-first fantasy adventure centered on friendship, magic, self-discovery, individuality, belonging, and emotional growth. The 4 announced central ponies are Twilight Sparkle, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy. The new voice cast includes Jenna Weir as Twilight Sparkle, Ava Preston as Rainbow Dash, Kayla Sampson as Fluttershy, and Kaya Kaneshiro as Pinkie Pie. The series is being led by showrunner and head writer Gretchen Mallory and series director Taihan Mustafa? Let's go with that. It's being developed in collaboration with Lil Critter Workshop, with Nicholas Cole contributing key artwork to the wider visual direction. Hasbro has also released a new Forever Friendship song performed by Carly Rohde. A version performed by the Pony voice cast is expected to appear in the series' title sequence. The new series will reportedly be accompanied by additional music, an expanded social media presence, and a podcast. There was also additional information revealed during the San Diego Comic-Con panel and in an interview with the creative team. Those details are important because they give us a better understanding of what Generation 6 actually is and what it is not. I will be calling this Generation 6 or G6 throughout the video. Hasbro describes Forever Friendship as introducing the new generation of pony adventures, even though the company's official announcements does not specifically use the label Generation 6. For me, G6 is still the clearest way to describe it. It is presenting a new creative era, a different visual identity, a new cast of performers, and a new version of Equestria. However, I do not think it is accurate to describe G6 simply as a reboot of Friendship is Magic. According to the live report from the San Diego Comic-Con panel, Forever Friendship takes place in a new timeline and approaches My Little Pony through what is described as a fresh, mythic lens. The panel reportedly clarified that this is not a reboot, sequel or prequel to G4. That means Generation 6 is not restarting the exact story we already watched. It is returning to the beginning of G4 and telling the same events differently. It is also not continuing directly from the ending of G4 or G5. Instead, it appears to be building a new version of Equestria with its own mythology, history, and character relationships. These ponies may have familiar names, colours, and personality traits, but they are not the exact characters whose journeys we followed in Friendship is Magic. Before I properly discuss Generation 6, I need to explain my relationship with the end of G4. I never watched the final season of Friendship is Magic. That's not because I lost interest in the show. It's actually because I cared too much. I know the general idea of what the ending does, and I know many fans found it meaningful and emotional. It offers a conclusion and shows the characters' lives continue to change. But that's exactly what I've never been ready to see. I don't want to watch the main six grow older. I don't want to see their adventures become something of the past. I don't want to arrive at the point where the series tells me that their stories has reached its final destination. I want G4 to go on forever. Of course, I understand that no television series can literally continue forever. Creative teams move on, voice actors accept different roles, companies change direction, new children grow up with newer versions of old franchises. Logically, I understand why another generation had to happen. Emotionally, I don't think I ever accepted that G4 had ended. By not watching the final season, I've been able to leave the story open in my mind. There's no final goodbye because I never allowed myself to reach it. There's always another unseen adventure. The ponies are still together somewhere beyond the last episode I watched. That may not be the official reality of the story, but it has been emotionally comforting to me. Generation 6 challenges that comfort. It places familiar characters in front of me, but they look different, sound different, and belong to a different timeline. It reminds me that the original versions are no longer the current face of My Little Pony. I think that's why the announcement affected me so strongly. G6 represents a change that I've been avoiding since G4 ended. I want to be completely fair about the G6 artwork. I think it's beautiful. The creative team has described the desired style as fresh and expressive, with elements of sparkle, fantasy, and magical girl-inspired wonder. They also said they wanted the characters to remain recognizable while giving this generation its own energy and perspective. I think the artwork succeeds in looking distinctive. My discomfort is not that it's ugly. My discomfort is that it's different. But when you're deeply attached to a particular version of a character, even a beautiful redesign can be unsettling. Both things can be true at the same time. The art can be beautiful, and I can still prefer what came before. I think it's also important to clarify that the image revealed at Comic-Con is key promotional artwork rather than an actual frame from the finished animated series. According to the panel recap, it is intended to embody the idea and broader direction of the project. But the artwork is still our first introduction to this new generation, and it makes the difference between G4 and G6 feel very real. I feel similarly conflicted about the new voice cast. I'm genuinely happy for Jenna, Ava, Kayla, and Kaya. Being chosen to voice characters as well known as Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, and Pinkie Pie is an incredible opportunity. They should not be attacked or blamed simply because they are not the original G4 performers. They did not decide to end G4. They did not decide which characters would be selected for the new series. They accepted an exciting professional opportunity and they deserve to be treated kindly. At the same time, I know that I'm going to miss the original voices. The voices became inseparable from the G4 versions of the characters. The way each pony reacted, laughed, argued, panicked, or expressed excitement became part of how I recognized them. Hearing new voices will reinforce that these are not the same characters, and that may be difficult for me. Again, two feelings can exist together. I can be happy that the new performers received this opportunity, I can hope that they succeed, and I still miss the original cast deeply. Supporting the new characters does not require me to pretend that the change feels easy. A phrase I have seen repeatedly is that Twilight and her friends are returning, but emotionally, that is not how the announcement feels to me. The character names are returning, some recognizable designs and personality traits are returning. That is not necessarily criticism of the writers. A new timeline has to be allowed to create new possibilities, but it means that watching G6 will not give me more time with the characters I already love. It would be more like meeting new characters who strongly resemble them. For some fans, that may be comforting. It may allow the spirit of the characters to continue without undoing the end of G4. For me, it feels more complicated. I was never going to lose the originals, so seeing different versions does not feel like getting them back. It reminds me that the versions I wanted are gone. And even if all 6 ponies had been announced, I think I would still need some time to process that. But Applejack and Rarity's absence has made it much harder. I think I'm going to make a separate video on Applejack and Rarity's absence from the main 6, because this video would get really long if I really got into this. Another major concern I have is the release format. Episodes will be approximately 9 minutes long, released every 2 weeks and available exclusively on YouTube. Hasbro also intends to clip and promote the series across social media platforms. I understand the advantages of releasing it on YouTube. The show will be widely accessible. Viewers will not necessarily need a particular television channel or paid streaming subscription. It may also make the series easier for younger viewers to discover. But personally, I'm not excited about waiting 2 weeks for a 9-minute episode. 9 minutes may work for a small character interaction, a comedy, or a simple emotional lesson. It is much harder to use that time to introduce a fantasy world, develop several characters, and tell a satisfying story. The serialized structure does make the format sound more promising than a collection of unrelated shorts. It means the story and relationship can develop across episodes. However, it also means viewers may receive only 9 minutes of progress and have to wait another 2 weeks. That viewing experience does not particularly appeal to me. I'm also slightly concerned about the emphasis on clips and social media promotion. I do not want scenes to feel as though they were designed mainly to be short, shareable moments. I want the story and characters to come first. The writers may handle this format extremely well. I'm not claiming that 9-minute episodes are automatically incapable of telling meaningful stories, but the format gives me another reason to wait rather than immediately commit to the series. We also need to discuss the possibility of Generation 6 toys. My Little Pony began as a toy brand, so it's natural to think that Forever Friendship will eventually receive its own merchandise. The new designs also look as though they could translate naturally into physical projects. However, at the time of recording this video, Hasbro has not officially announced a dedicated Forever Friendship toy line in the series press release. That means any discussion of specific toys or released waves is currently speculation. When the toys are eventually announced, I will be extremely interested to see which characters are included. Will the first range only contain Twilight Sparkle, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy? Will Applejack and Rarities receive toys even if they're not initially members of the core cast? Could Applejack and Rarity be held back for a second wave connected to their eventual introduction? Toy releases can sometimes tell us which characters a company considered central to the brand. A new Applejack and Rarity toy would not prove that they are joining the main group, but it would at least suggest that Hasbro still sees them as an important part of Generation 6. Even though I am struggling with the announcement emotionally, I can still recognize that the designs have interesting product possibilities. And once again, Rarity's absence feels most impossible to understand. If the new toys emphasize hair, fashion, styling, and decoration, Rarity seems like one of the most obvious characters to include. Another concern is how heavily G6 relies on characters associated with Friendship is Magic. Hasbro could have created an entirely original central group. Well, I guess they tried that with G5, and that didn't go down too well. But instead, it chose 4 characters with an enormous amount of existing recognition. That guarantees attention. People already know Twilight Sparkle, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy. Many fans already have strong emotional connections to them. But using familiar characters also guarantees comparison. Every voice, personality trait, joke, and relationship will be compared to G4. If the characters are too similar to their G4 versions, viewers may question why their story needed to be restarted in a new timeline. If they are extremely different, viewers may question why familiar names and designs were used instead of creating completely original ponies. The creative team has said that its goal is not to recreate something that already exists. Instead, it wants to build on the emotional qualities associated with My Little Pony while giving its series its own identity. I respect that goal, but I still think the series will need to justify its use of these particular characters. Why did Generation 6 need new versions of our known ponies? What can these versions explore that their G4 counterparts did not? And why use 4 members of the main 6 instead of using all 6 or creating a completely new group? At the moment, I do not have satisfying answers. Although I am deeply disappointed, there are several things that could make me reconsider watching G6. The first would be confirmation that Applejack and Rarity will have substantial roles. I don't need them to repeat their G4 stories. In fact, I would prefer generally new interpretations, but I want them to matter. I want them to have goals, flaws, relationships, and meaningful stories. I want them to influence the group. A background cameo would not be enough. The second thing would be a strong trailer. We have seen beautiful key artwork, but we've not yet seen what the animated series will actually look or sound like. A trailer would demonstrate that the 9-minute format supports the promised emotional storytelling, fantasy world, and serialized plot. The third thing would be learning more about the mythology. The fourth would be a toy announcement showing a wide range of ponies. Seeing Applejack and Rarity included in these products would give me at least some reassurance that they've not just been pushed to the side completely. But even if all of that happens, I may still need time. My difficulty is not only based on my lack of information, it comes from the fact that I never wanted G4 to be replaced in the first place. At this stage, I don't think I'll watch the series when it first begins releasing on YouTube. That decision is not only about the 9-minute episodes, it's not only about Applejack and Rarity being absent, it's because I don't think I'm emotionally ready to see new versions of these characters. I've not even been able to watch the original versions reach the end of their story. Moving directly from avoiding the G4 conclusion to watching a different Twilight begin a new journey feels like a step that I'm not ready for. Some people may say that I should at least watch the first episode before judging it, and I understand that argument. The show may be much better than I expect. The new actors may give wonderful performances, the animation may be beautiful, the story may eventually include Applejack and Rarity, but entertainment is personal. I don't have to force myself to watch something simply because it belongs to a franchise I love. Other longtime fans may find G6 comforting. They may see familiar names and feel relieved that some version of these characters will continue. Younger viewers may fall in love with this version of Equestria in the same way that I fell in love with G4. That would be wonderful for them. But for me, seeing the new versions currently has the opposite effect. It reminds me that the originals are no longer the current face of My Little Pony. That doesn't mean I'll never watch G6. Perhaps time will change how I feel. Perhaps the eventual story will draw me in. Perhaps Applejack and Rarity will become important members of the cast. But I don't want to pretend that I'm excited when I'm not. Right now, I still want G4. I still want the complete main 6. And I'm not ready to say goodbye. G6 may eventually become something beautiful. The artwork is beautiful. The new voice actors deserve support and the opportunity to make their roles their own. The creative team appears to care about the emotional storytelling, friendship, mythology, and creating a world that can develop over time. My sadness is not hostility towards these people making the series. I do not believe they should be attacked for trying to create something new. My reaction comes from how deeply attached I am to what came before. I never wanted G4 to end. I never wanted the main 6 to grow older and reach the conclusion of their story. I've avoided the final season because watching it would make that ending feel real. Generation 6 now asks me to confront that ending through new designs, new voices, a new timeline, and a different central group. And I'm not ready. I can recognize that the artwork is beautiful while missing the old style. I can be happy for the performers while longing to hear the original voices. I can understand why a franchise needs to change whilst wishing that this particular franchise never had to. I can accept that Generation 6 may find an audience that loves it while also recognizing that I may not be part of that audience. I can acknowledge that Applejack and Rarity may appear later while still being devastated that they are not considered part of the starting group. Maybe that's the real reason this announcement has affected me so deeply. It's not only about the new art style, it's not about the new cast, it's not only about the episode length or which ponies were selected. Forever Friendship has reminded me that nothing actually lasts forever, not even the version of My Little Pony that I wanted to hold on to. And I don't think I'm ready to accept that yet. Now I want to know whether anyone else feels this way. Have you watched the final season of Friendship with Magic, or have you avoided it because you were not ready for the story to end? Can you appreciate the beauty of the new art style while still preferring the old designs? Are you excited to hear the new voice actors, or do you think hearing different voices will be difficult at first? Do these ponies feel like familiar characters returning, or do they feel like new characters who happen to share familiar names and designs? How has the absence of Applejack and Rarity affected your opinion of Generation 6? Do you think they'll eventually join the core group, or will they only appear through cameos and Easter eggs? Are you interested in the 9-minute video format? And what kind of Generation 6 toys would you like to see? Please share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. Some fans are excited, some are cautiously curious, some are disappointed, and some of us are simply not ready to move on. All of these reactions can exist at the same time. Thank you for watching and allowing me to speak honestly about something that may seem small to some people, but means a great deal to me. And Hasbro, please don't forget Applejack and Rarity. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!